don't get a chance to actually talk with regular people, which is awesome. And I don't mean to say that in a negative way. I'm so in tune with my agility crowd that it's time to start branching out and talking again to people about what massage does for their dogs or their animals, their cats, and what Reiki does. I started this about 9 years ago, and when I first started, everyone would laugh at me, and they said, "Oh, I massage my dogs every day. I massage my dogs every day." And I would say, "Okay, you massage your dogs every day, that's great, but you don't have to," I'm thinking to myself, "you don't have to laugh at me. It's a true career." And now, 9 years later, there's a lot more people doing it. There's a lot more schools. There's more information out there. There's tutorials online for you to do things yourself. And what my goal is to start reaching back out and just letting you know, now that you're ready, I really want to tell you more about what you're doing with your dog when you're massaging your dog at home, and give you some tips on ways that you might impact their bodies in a positive way with a little guidance. For instance, how hard should we touch our dogs? How hard is a massage? Do you get massages? Okay. Do you do deep tissue? Okay. It hurts a little bit, doesn't it? It feels good,
Yeah.
but it hurts. For dogs, this is a 3-level sponge. That's about it. They do not need deep tissue. Their bodies are about as big as a child or as a kid. There's very few exceptions to how hard you want to touch. Sometimes I need to go a little bit deeper, but I'm still not to the orange. When I'm doing trigger point therapy, I will go to the orange. So I want you all to touch this and feel it and try the different levels so that you feel yourself how much pressure you should use. Another thing that you might want to consider is the pressure you use to rub your eyes. You know, if you rub too hard, you can't see for a minute. That is also a good idea and a good measurement of how much pressure you might want to use for a dog. So we're always thinking of feather light. If that's my one piece of advice that you walk away and remember, really light touch is not necessary for deep tissue. So if I may toss this to you, since it's a sponge, and it's interesting how I got that sponge. I took a trigger point therapy class with a lady from Japan. She teaches canine massage to Japanese veterinarians, and this is a no-no.
Penelope needs everyone to look at her.
She is, yeah. She wants to see that cat really bad. And she'll jump off the table too. That's okay. So she found these at the dollar store. Everything's a dollar store, and she gave one to all of us because it shows a really good idea of how much pressure to use. So I love that. So thank you, Akimi. The other thing too is, how many times should you massage your dogs? You can do it once a day, but if you're doing a full body massage all day long, like I'm going to show you on a quick demonstration, going all the way from the tips of the head and face and the nose and the stop point right up here, all the way down to the tip of the tail and into the toes. If you do that every day, you're going to see a lot of diarrhea, because the dog's body, just like ours, starts to detox, and we start to flush our system. So when we're talking about some of the benefits of massage, it helps with digestion and also helps release metabolic waste. So it pushes those things through our system, through the stomach, through the digestive system, and out. So you'll see some diarrhea. 3 times a week is pretty good. How long should you massage them? Approximately 15 to 20 minutes. I do a half an hour massage on an agility dog. For home dogs, the home visits that I make, I will probably do a half an hour to 45 minutes. Because I'm talking with the owner, we're talking about different things that might be going on with the dog that might help. I always give a lesson every time I work with you and your dog, so that you might find a way to help them more pointedly than just a typical pet and massage, okay? This little girl is a failed foster. I've had her for about 9 years, and she came in a crate, tiny little crate in the top of a panel van that had a bunch of other dogs from Harlan County. They were able to slip her crate in the top because it was so small. Then they got thrown off of the highway because of ice, so they had to pull off for all night long, and they couldn't get back on the road. So she was in a crate for about 13 hours. I picked her up at Thornton's in Jeffersonville, and the first thing she did was stretch, and then she did not want to go back in the crate. I don't blame her. She rode on my lap the rest of the way home. I put her in the crate to introduce her to the dogs. The first thing I did was massage her. I knew she would need it because she'd been cramped up, stiff all night long, but also I needed a chance to bond with her and to let her know she was in a safe place. So if you get a new puppy or you get a dog that is coming from a shelter or a rescue that you might be fostering, always take time to massage them, because that massage is going to start bonding with that animal. I've seen people who didn't know how to bond with a dog. They're like, it's a dog, it's supposed to just do what a dog does. Well, unless you reach out and touch and hold and pet this dog, it's not going to be friends with you. It's going to stay distant. They desire being around people. They are pack animals, and so you are part of their pack. Obviously, if you are looking at an agility dog, you see how hard that work is on their bodies. When I compare that to other athletic dogs, there's a huge difference between agility and dock diving, for instance. The hard thing to understand is your dog's not an agility dog, maybe, and how does he get so stressed, or how does his muscles get tired? Does he run the fence? Does he run up and down stairs? Does he skip the last two because he wants to rush through? Does he jump off the back porch, free flying like a little gazelle off the top? Maybe they are playing with the other dogs. She wrestles with her best friend at my house. They go at each other like football players, boom, right there. And they are playing and running and doing figure eight. She does the best figure eight I've ever seen. She'll plant those front feet, the back slides around, and she's ready to go forward again. So she gets tired too. When I look at her walking, I see a little bit of a limp. And she does have that limp right now. Walking through here, you don't notice it as much. It's when she runs. I hear it and I see it. Ba-da-dum, 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 ba-da-dum. That sounds like a tire's loose or low. So she's gonna need a little bit of a massage. I see her stiffness in the back end here. She's only 9. She shouldn't be getting that much stiffness and body aches and pains, but I know how much she goes up and down the stairs. We have wood floors, they slip and they slide. Iliopsoas injuries are probably the #1 injury of dogs on ice or on slick floors. The iliopsoas is right up under here, right on the inside of the leg. It's right here for us, and I have had an injury on an iliopsoas. It is painful, it stings, it feels like somebody's sticking a knife inside of you. Theirs is on the inside. It's not that easy to detect. A vet does have to actually diagnose it, and it's not the first thing they think of. But there are common things that happen, and when you have a dog with an iliopsoas issue, if they have slipped on ice or they have slipped on the concrete or on your wood floors, then you have a dog that's going to be on crate risk for anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So it's important to keep an eye on what they're doing with their bodies if you're able to. How they run, how they play. So a regular lap dog can still have aches and pains and sore, tired muscles. It also will increase focus. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing this little massage on her. I want her to kind of see where my hands are going to go. I'm not taking that harness off of her. She's still very focused somewhere else. And I'm just touching her and running my hands from the head down to the tail. I want to touch the tail. There's things that can happen to that tail. It can get stuck, it can get caught, it can get, some dogs have crop tails. She does not, but if she did, I would still address that tail as if it were all there. So that is part of her spine. It is an important part of this body. I want to be careful with the neck. That's enough. I want to be careful with her neck, because neck injuries can end a physical body. So instead of being on the spine, I encourage you to be on the soft spot on either side of the spine. So we have the spine as our center. I want to be in those paraspinals, on the muscles on either side. You can feel them, how soft they are. And again, we're going to use that really light touch. Starting at the base of her skull, I'm just going to do strokes down both sides, and those muscles go all the way down into this tail. So I can do this all the way down the neck. I hit the shoulders. I'm going to go down the back, crossing through the thoracic and the lumbar into her sacrum, and then out the tail. If I do that on both sides, then I'm really relaxing those muscles. Her spine can loosen up, and then she has freedom of movement. If I want something specific, for instance, I might have a leg that's a little gimpy, or she is, will you lay down for me? Thank you. That's such a good girl. What a good girl. Thank you. I want to see which leg it is that actually has the limp. So I'm going to do some range of motion. Range of motion is different from stretching. Range of motion is as far as the dog feels like going. Stretching is taking them one little bit past. So we only want to do range of motion. So I'm checking her, and she's actually a little stiff right here. So then I'm going to look at the dog body like it's a car. And I've got the quarter panel up here, the back quarter panel back here, and the vice versa on the other side. So here's my doors, here's my back. So we have steering and we have horsepower. So how she maneuvers, all of those obstacles in the house are going to come into play in the front end. As she maneuvers and pushes and goes really, really fast, that's going to be in the back end. So you have your quads, you have your hamstrings, you have your hocks and your stifles. All of that make that foot go, and all of this back end and the back door and the trunk right here help to push as well. This is where a lot of injuries can happen, especially for really fast dogs who don't know how to stop. This can happen when you have a dog who lands hard, takes those last two steps, we have an impact on the back right here. The body will compensate just like us. If you know anything about body work, this side can have something to do with this hip, which can have something to do with that knee. It crisscrosses. It has straight line compensation. So if one side is bothered, the other side on the opposite end will be bothered as well. So it's good to know that dog's body. You also want to pet them more often so that you can see if there's any new changes. How do I know if she has a new lump that's come in and that I need to talk to the doctor about? I think it would be important that I know when that started to appear. She has a little bitty spot on the back of her foot. It moves around on the foot, so it's not always in the same place. I think it might be a BB. But it's never in the same place twice, and it just moves around, and it's not causing her any problems, so I'm leaving it alone. Otherwise, I would have to have it cut out. However, I do feel that we've got some new moles coming in. Feels like a little tick under the skin. You look and you see, oh, it's not a tick, it's just a mole. Moles are really not that much of a problem for an immediate emergency to the vet. So when you go to the vet, point these things out so the vet has a chance to take a look and say, yeah, don't worry about that. Also lumps, know where they are, know how long they've been there, and then you can tell your vet.
Sorry, she's a little bit of an antagonist.
This is her house. So yeah, this is how a dog can get stressed out. You see that? Do you see all of those muscles that she is using? She can be really sore tonight, maybe, right? So let's take a look at how to help an animal that might be older. Do you have older dogs? 6. That's not too old. She's 9. A lot of my clients that are personal clients that vets make recommendations for either have neck issues or back end issues. I've worked with dogs with degenerative myelopathy, and I've worked with dogs that have any number of multitude of things going on with their neck. So that's why I know you have to be really careful, because you can hurt a dog if you press too hard. So always go light. When considering if your dog is aging, they don't move as much anymore, they have mobility issues. Degenerative myelopathy has a problem with the spine and the end of the back here. It starts at the tail. The spine, the skin covering the spine has a tendency to open up and start to deteriorate, and then the bones start touching the spinal nerves, and you lose action in your back end. So it's very, very sad. Some of them have wobblers, which happen here in the neck. Same thing, except it's in the neck. And then they have a cracked neck, and they don't walk so good in the back. So the back is so important. If you have a dog that doesn't get to move very much, these ears are very important. They have over 200 acupuncture points in the ears alone that then correspond to 200 points throughout this body and the organs to stimulate them. So if you are massaging this dog's ears, and I'm talking about the edges, and then we're talking about the outside here around, and I want to get my finger towards the inside. I don't need to go inside, but I do want to rub that outside. And then I take the centerpiece, the little leather of the ear, and then I pull, and it gives it a little bit of a stretch. Pulls that on the inside. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? That is so good. Then if you massage that for 15 minutes, that's equivalent to a 15-minute walk with your dog who can't move very much. That's how many stimulations you're doing at that time. So a half an hour ear massage, half an hour walk. If we have a dog that's a little stressed, and sometimes I've gone into a vet office and the dogs are freaking out because they're at the vet office, and I will just feel so bad. I'm like, may I help? Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But a dog like this, who's very overstimulated right now, I might want to rub this little stop point. You all have a stop point too. We have it right here between our eyes. If you feel between the two eyebrows, there's a little divot. And you can give a little pressure there, and you find it, you just kind of give pressure right there on that. It just relaxes you. Does the same thing for dogs. So I will sit, and I can give a little bit of extra pressure on that skull because the skull is a bone. So I'm gonna give a little bit of pressure there and help her calm down. Good girl. That's a good girl. Another point is on the tips of these ears. A dog in shock, you can just pack those ears right there on the end and give them a good squeeze. Can help bring them back. And this little point in the nose, I have never had to do this myself, but accidents happen. Dogs become in shock from an accident or fire or anything, and they're acting normal, but you can tell they're in panic. That little spot right there, you can do that. It helps to bring them back to earth. I've never had to do it, but I do know that it's there in case I need to. It's a piece of the body, so all of these things can make an impact on them. Do you have the dogs who have the reverse sneezing?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, now Dr. Lands is an acupuncture vet. She recommends just going ahead and massaging the throat. I also read that if you cover the nose while they're doing that, which is hard to think because you're covering their nose, they can't breathe. It's because the flap in the back of the mouth is getting stuck at the cover where the nose is trying to breathe. So if you do that, it resets it. They don't ever breathe through their mouth, but it'll reset it, and then they can help stop with that. Also, massaging under the eyes and on top of the eyes helps to open up the sinuses. Now, if you are massaging your dog and you see that they have a nice, wet, drippy nose, that is a great sign, because that wet nose is a sign that the sinuses are relaxing enough to release the juices. So sometimes the dog will actually be laying down. This one is not today. But they will lay down. That's a good girl. That's a good girl right there. Thank you. You're not going to be bothered by that cat. She's like, So I'd be working with the dog, the nose is dripping, and then I need to work the other side. So rather than asking the dog to get up, I will just do a flip. And sometimes that flip causes sneezing because the sinuses all ran back into the sinus cavity. Okay, so those are things to watch for on that. If you have a dog that doesn't like to have their paws touched, get their favorite treat and massage the paw without having to clip the nails. And then they won't mind as much when you do have to clip the nails. So when you massage your dogs, Make sure that you take attention to the whole body, front, all the way to the tail. Feel the changes, know their lumps and bumps, because it will be important when you become a part of your dog's first line caretaker when you take them to the vet and ask them, what's this, and I've seen this, and what do we do about it? Are there any questions on that right now? Because what I'd also like to talk to you about is what Reiki is. And Reiki is a Japanese technique that is used for relaxation and stress reduction. I will attempt to stress reduce this dog, but being that we are working with a live patient, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. I learned Reiki right aside with massage. They were one right after the other. Along with the clipboard, there's two pictures, one of my cat and one of my dog. My cat was 17 years old when he passed away. I couldn't do anything to help him. I could just sit there and watch him. And I thought, I will never let this happen again. I will never sit helpless and not be able to do something for my animals, because I had a dog at that point, and then I gained another one, and I gained another one. So after learning massage and learning Reiki, I feel very confident in being able to help my dog and other dogs. Sometimes that involves the energy work. And what I want you to do, you're not Reiki practitioners unless you are. Is anybody here a Reiki practitioner? You are? Great. So what I want you to do at home is we're going to send an abundance of love to the dogs. So finding a place where you could just sit with them on the couch, on the floor, in the closet. I've shut the door. This is only one dog I'm working with. The other ones are outside the closet waiting to get in. And I want to hold the back of the withers and the front of the thymus. So the spot that I'm actually on is right here in that little divot that comes out. So I've got her. It doesn't matter what hand. The other one is back here. And just hold them and breathe. And you will start to see them slow down, take deep breaths, maybe do a yawn, and then eventually they will start to lay down. With Reiki, it is a process that is learned. You go through an attunement process where the symbols and skills are supposedly passed down to you. I teach. However, you have to know that you still have this skill anyway. We all do. It's all innate inside of us. And our animals recognize that in us. That's why they sit close to us, and that's why they hang with us. I have used Reiki to help animals in their last moments, and I have used Reiki to help my dog get over a sickness. He will wake up in the middle of the night, my dog that has gastrointestinal issues. Ever since he was a young pup, we tried to poison him with ant spray one time. I say we, he's my dog. It's not because I did it. And ever since then, he's had gastrointestinal issues and kidney and liver toxicity issues. She's about to lay down. He'll get up in the middle of the night because he ate something he shouldn't have. Sometimes it's been crayons, other times it's been Reese's peanut butter cups, and other times it's just food that he can't stomach. So yes, he gets into everything. And I will get up with my pendulum, and I will hold him with Reiki, and then I will balance his chakras. Is chakras a part of Reiki? Not necessarily, although the subtle energy is altogether one thing. But I learned about the chakras because it does make an impact. And if you are familiar with a pendulum, then you can also use this skill. I'm going to demonstrate it just so you can see what I'm talking about. She's looking for the cat.
I think Savannah's got her nice and tight.
She's making her rounds. So, good girl. See that shake? I'll tell you about that shake in just a second. Okay. Nope. Sit. So, I have a pendulum that I got many years ago. It was my very first one, made by a lady who makes stones and crystal items for dogs. So, I'm going to go through the 7 chakras that they have that we have. They're all associated with our endocrine system. They have 7 endocrine systems, so do we. But I also count the nose as a strong major chakra for them because of how they use their nose. We only have about 5 million olfactory sensors in our nose. They have like 220 million. So that's why they can smell the food better than they can taste it. Their taste buds are minor. So these little spins that you're seeing are the actual energy system of her chakras. I'm at her heart chakra right now. It's starting to slow down a little bit because she's starting to calm. And I'm not really seeing too much of an issue. But with my min pin, he will get a couple of these going back and forth. I want circles because wheels of energy spin. They don't go back and forth like a flat tire. So I would sit there and just hold him, doing Reiki, and then letting my pendulum do the rest of the work and balance his chakras. And then I've got a dog that finally stops throwing up and is finally able to go back to bed, and so is mom. Do you have to have a pendulum to do this? No. But if you think you want to try it, it's not too bad. It's kind of fun to play with this. And the Reiki is helping me to do this. I've got a hold of her in this heart chakra, and I'm throwing Reiki in there, and it's reaching out to the other side with a subtle energy to try to balance those chakras. So I'm balancing this root chakra right now. I'm just waiting for my pendulum to stop. So it stopped. Then I'm going to move to the next, and to the next, and to the next. And eventually, by the time I get to the crown, then all of that subtle energy system is going to come into place and realign itself. I might use stones and crystals. That's one of the things that I do play with when I'm working with the animals. I have a whole collection of stones that I might choose from. The Reiki helps to input the energy. So even if you are not Reiki certified, you can still do energy work with them. You place one hand on the back of the withers, one hand on the thymus, and you hold them, and you see a light shining between your 2 palms. Visualize like a fluorescent light and shine between my 2 palms. And if you want to put color in there, it can be white, it can be pink with an abundance of love. And even I'm taking a deep breath. She hasn't taken any deep breaths yet, but she's still very excited. And then you just apply this light everywhere. I'm going from here to here. I might go between the hips. How fast should I move? Not this fast, but I want to do that for demonstration purposes. You want to take your time with energy, because if you are stressed when you are giving this dog energy, they will feel it. Most of the time, a lot of the problems are what is on the other end of the leash. And that's not always the dog's fault, but it can be. And it's sometimes my fault a lot of times. So with her, and you saw her doing the shakes, after you're doing some energy work or you're doing massage with them, they will do a shake after it's over. That's called an integration shake. That means that they're getting it. What do they do when they get up from their sleeping? They get up, shake it off, stretch, start scratching the ears, but the shake comes. Eventually, before they get on the floor or when they get on the floor, all of those things start jingling because they're shaking. They're integrating from the nap, they're integrating from the sleep, they integrate from the massage or from the Reiki. I also get a lot of yawns. If you're getting yawns from your dog, that's a good sign. That means they're opening up and that lung and heart are expanding and letting more air in and letting more air out. You get the runny nose, the yawns, the sighs. When you're working with them, pay attention, because that means you're getting through and you're applying the skills to give them relaxation, to give their body some rest from stressed muscles, to help the joints and the flexibility, to work with bonding and digestion and focusing of the mind. Just bring it all together. When you're looking at a dog that's stressed or scattered, massage will really help them. When you're working with energy work, whether that be with just allowing yourself to know that you have the skills to place your hands on your animal and to give an abundance of love, they are accepting of this, and they is finally laying down on her own. That's a good girl. That is such a good girl. and she's finally starting to stop shaking. It took us to this point to get there. She loves massages, there's no doubt about it. Stretch. Oh,
That is so cute.
and then we stretch our back. No, you stay. I've got you. You're not going to fall. That's a good girl. And then we can stretch our back legs. We see where we are. Rub the belly. You know, massage is not about belly rubs, but there is an impact that you're having on the digestion by rubbing the belly. There's different acupuncture points along the edges of the ribs and up and down the side of the belly and into the knee that will help with digestion issues. So instead of worrying which ones you're touching, go ahead and touch all of them. Because with massage, you are getting all of those acupuncture points.
It's relaxing me just watching you
know.
massage her.
It happens. It happens. So let's just take a look at what we did earlier with that. There she goes again. She's shaking again. So, see, it looks a little relaxed to me. It's not as strong as it was because she finally gave. She finally said, oh, okay, I'm not gonna pay attention to anything else around. And so I've kind of balanced that energy now. Using the Reiki, using massage. Pendulum work is a lot more detailed than this, but it's a way of visualizing what's actually happening in the subtle energy of the body. Are there any questions about that? Do you have any questions at all? I'm open for discussion at this point. So what brought you out? We'll start with you.
Our dog, if you described him, he runs, he jumps, he floors, and he slips over. He's got so much energy that it's exhausting to watch him sometimes. And he'll run until he hurts, until he's limping.
Right.
So we've had a couple of occasions these past few months where we put him on bed rest for a few days, and my husband the other day kind of started to rub on his leg. He doesn't normally let us just do that.
Mhm.
It felt really, really good to him. And then this popped up on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I want to make him feel better.
Exactly. And that's why remembering soft touch. Now they will push. They'll push harder. Like especially in the hips. I've had dogs just lean in on me because I'm not pressing hard enough. I let them tell me how hard to go.
And that's how he is with his ears.
Yes.
That you couldn't press hard enough for him. He'll just, and
Right.
he loves that.
Yes. What brought you here?
I don't know. My dogs seem to be getting more like anxious, so
Mhm.
just thought it'd be good for them to kind of calm down maybe a little.
Yes. Now, helping to calm them down, especially when you are actually doing some of this at home. With the hair grain is calming and relaxing. Okay, with the hair grain. So follow it down the back. And does this calm him down? No. So you have to be in the moment with them. You have to just go slow. She's a small dog. The Dobermans I work with, they're much bigger. I can take a lot more time with them because of the size of material I have to work with. But she's small, I have to challenge myself. I go slower. So I'm gonna count to 10. Let's see how slow that actually looks from the head to the base of the butt, right? Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was hard. But we got there and it was slow enough for her to receive the calmingness of it. I'm calming myself, she's calming. So when you see the anxiety start to pick in, don't just do this, do all of this. Now I have a table to work with. I used to work on the floor. My back doesn't allow it anymore. However, I can do this when I'm standing and they're on the bed. They love to lay on the bed. So they'll get up there, roll over for me, all of that. So I will just focus on all of the body parts, all the way down, remembering the tail. You'll find out places your dog doesn't like to be touched. They will turn around and look at you like, don't touch that. Pay attention. It could be a problem later, or it might be something they're trying to tell you. That hurts, Mom or Dad. What brought you out?
I know that it affects benefits for both these for humans, and
Mhm.
I think I've seen, I don't know if it's your part, but I've seen it before, cards out of past where I was interested in it.
Yeah. Do you do Reiki then?
I
With your
haven't
animals?
attuned,
Yeah.
but I haven't, it's not self-made.
Sure. Well, and the first place I would start is always, every time before you even start the massage, just start right here in the heart center, because I am on the back side of that heart chakra and the front side of it, and holding it and seeing pink lights. I'm sending all of those beautiful pictures to them. They're loving it because they're feeling the love. And so that would be the first start. And then just different points across the body, going slower than I'm going now. You can do a 30-minute with just holding positions without touching, and they receive so much from it. And what brought you today?
No, I have a dog that's overreactive and strong. I've been trying to give them a lot of touch to keep them calm.
Well, this little point right here can help. And I am, got a yawn out of her, didn't I? I am applying some pressure. I'm not gonna try to push through the bone, but I can give a little more pressure here because we're on that bone in the stop center. And that will really bring in, it releases the endorphins, which causes the relaxation and the calming to affect. Another thing you might try, I said to brush away from the heart with the hair. That's the first easiest way to remember. But you might have a dog that really needs to calm down. They're so overexcited, I have to get the newspaper out. I don't like to do that unless it's an emergency. This is another thing I can do. I'm taking all of this hair and I'm brushing it towards the heart. And I'm doing this as quickly as you might want to do it, okay? What I am doing is I am using those hair follicles to stimulate all of the nerve centers that stimulate the body, that kind of give it a push to reach peak, and then the only place to go is down. So doing this for a few minutes will then allow the dog to kind of reach its peak and then come down from there. So that is a technique to calm quickly. So we would do just a brushing of the hair against the grain towards the heart. Now, in regular massage, we would always go away from the heart, less stimulating to a heart. If you have a dog that has heart problems and you know of that, you probably want to go a little more gentle with this. I'm really pushing this towards to stimulate everything to really bring her back down to center. But it will work and it will help to get them calm. Now, I have had dogs where I've used essential oils that have a blend of lavender and chamomile to help with the calming. I have used something like Bach flower rescue remedy to help with the calming. It's an essence. If you have a dog, you might need to get some. Put it in their water. I used to put it on my hands, good girl, and rub it on the face. You don't even have to give it to them internally. You can just rub it in that subtle energy system that is out there, and it calms the centers. I've also used this technique all on the same dog with no effect. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at this dog. He is so overstimulated. It was a caisson. He jumped off my table 3 times. That hardly ever happens. The owner couldn't hold on to him either. This was the problem with the dog. After he left, voila, he finally calmed down because he was so overstimulated in the moment, not with the techniques, but his own personality, that it took him a moment after we had already done, just like this, how long did we work on her before she finally laid down on her own? So the stimulation of the animals can happen at any moment and for however how long. These are techniques that you can use that will eventually get to them and work with them. So you can, it's overstimulating that excitable dog to bring them to a focus point, which is why we talk about bringing it to their causing, easing the anxiety and bringing the focus.
We carry a calming essence too.
Do you?
Show you. Yeah, it's a spray.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Very nice.
Yeah,
And I can, do you, is that the
Oh
same?
yeah, this is the example.
So, for example, this is a calming essence, and what I would do, it says, it looks like it's for dogs and cats. Essences are probably safe for both. Oils, you might need to be careful of oils because some oils can be toxic to cats. Specifically, lavender is toxic to cats. So you wouldn't want to put a full-on oil to them. So working with oils, just be careful. Essences, we're working with the essence of something. I'm working with the aura of a flower or a tree that's going to have an impact on the energy system. So do I want to do this? No. That would really be offensive. That's what I want to do. I want to just spray it in the air, over the body, and allow her to feel it. She doesn't need to smell this. It shouldn't have a smell. It should be most likely stabilized with alcohol. Some essences that I use are stabilized with vinegar, so that I don't ever have to give your dog alcohol in any reason or my own, but that's one of the common stabilizers. So we just spray it over them and let it fall onto them. Same thing with a spray that's an essential oil blend that you might already have. Spray it over them. They will smell it and they will take it in as they need to. The other way you can use it, if this was Bach flower or had a dropper or something, I would then, there she goes, she's taking it all in. So then stay. Put on my hands. You're gonna sleep on the way home, aren't you? So I'm just making sure that I'm applying this and maybe just 3 swipes down. Or more. I'm just going until I feel like I wanna stop. And she's taken it all. There we go. So those are ways that you can use calming agents like this. What eventually happens is that because of the conditioning that you see from, oh, I'm gonna get the bottle and I'm gonna spray, it's just like getting the newspaper roll. They're like, oh, I'm gonna calm down now. Or I can spray the bottle, they see the bottle, they're like, oh, well, I'm gonna feel better in just a few minutes. And so they start to even calm down when you run out because they get used to that. It can happen that way. But this is an excellent tool to always carry with you if you have any kind of calming issues. You can spray it in a essential oil blend that would have smell. You can spray it in the crate, put it on the pillows. For an essence like this, spray them before they get into the car. Spray them before the walk. And take it with you if you have to spray 5 more minutes. Many times, essences are made for emergency purposes, and you can use it every 5 to 10 minutes if you need to until the emergency has passed. Thunderstorms. These are really good tools for thunderstorms. And I would also put some of this on my finger and apply it directly to this little spot right there for a thunderstorm, because that's where her stop point is. I'm going to release those endorphins, and the energy of this is affecting the energy out here as well. So that's what Reiki is also good for. You're affecting this energy, whereas massage is affecting this energy. And then it all comes together as one good little experience for your dog. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Platy appreciates it too. And she's like, where's that cat?